In this video, we will see what are the up-to-date options to install ESPHome on an ESP device. This is a complete ESPHome installation guide, as we will go through the ESPHome prerequisites, ESP board preparation, and several different methods to install ESPHome, namely using Home Assistant, using Docker, using Python, and using ESPTools in a web browser. If you are wondering what actually is ESPHome, here is a quick explanation. ESPHome is an alternative open source firmware that allows you to locally control ESP8266 or ESP32 based devices by simple yet powerful configuration files, so you can then add these devices in many different home automation systems like Home Assistant or Node-RED, for example. The whole idea with ESPHome is the following. Imagine that you buy an IoT device which usually is ESP based. That means the main chip inside is either ESP8266 or the newer one, ESP32. This IoT device can be either without any software on it, for example D1 Mini, NodeMCU, and many others, or the device can be pre-installed with a software from the vendor that is selling it. For example, Sonoff, Shelly, Tuya, and many more. In both of the above mentioned scenarios, you can upload the ESPHome firmware. Before you can do that, you have to prepare some things, and these are the prerequisites that needs to be met. First, you have to connect the ESP device to your computer somehow. This usually can be done using a micro USB cable if the ESP device of interest has such port on it, or you have to use a serial to USB adapter like this FTDI or this CH340G adapter. These adapters are available in AliExpress for around $1 or $2. If your ESP device have a micro USB port, you just have to connect it to your PC and you're ready to upload ESPHome. Otherwise, you have to connect the serial to USB adapter to your computer, and then you have to connect your serial to USB adapter to the ESP device, as follows: VCC on the serial to USB adapter to VCC on the ESP device, ground on the serial to USB adapter to ground on the ESP device, RX on the serial to USB adapter to TX on the ESP device, and TX on the serial to USB adapter to the RX on the ESP device. Depending on the ESP device, you may have to hold down the board button or to connect the GPIO with ground with a wire while the device is booting to put it in programming or flash mode. For some devices like D1 Mini and NodeMCU, you don't have to do anything special to put them in the flash mode, as they are in the constant programming mode. After you put your device into programming mode or flash mode, you have several ways to install ESPHome. And as I said in the beginning, the methods are using Home Assistant, using command line and Python, using Docker, and using ESPTools in a web browser. I will start with Home Assistant method. To use this method, you need Home Assistant OS or Home Assistant supervised installations. If you want to know more about the different Home Assistant installation methods, check my webinar, which is exactly on this topic, and it is available on my automate-like.pro website, absolutely for free. In case you don't want to use Home Assistant to install ESPHome for some reason, or you simply don't have Home Assistant yet, you can skip directly to this time, where I'm showing the other ESPHome installation methods. Otherwise, this is what you need to do to install ESPHome using Home Assistant. I will need the ESPHome dashboard add-on, so for that I'll go to Configuration, Add-ons, Backups and Supervisor, Add-on Store, and I'll search for ESPHome, and I'll click Install. When the installation is finished, I'll enable these switches right here and I'll click Start. I'll give it a few seconds to breathe, and then I'll click the Open Web UI button. Then on New Device, if I had HTTPS connection to the Home Assistant and ESP dashboard, I could use this Open ESPHome Web button, but because I don't have HTTPS, I'm using the regular HTTP. I'll just click Continue. I'll name my device somehow, for example, smash the like. I'll enter my Wi-Fi credentials. Here, this is the name of the Wi-Fi and this is the password. And I'll click Next. Here you have to find out what your ESP device is. It can be ESP32 or ESP8266. This is the more generic options that you can select, or you can pick a specific board. And because I know what my board is, it is a Node MCU based on ESP8266, I'll select this option right here. And I'll click Next. The configuration is created and I just can click Install button, or I can skip this and I can edit my configuration from here. For example, I can go to ESPHome website, I can search for Node MCU. Here it is, Node MCU ESP8266. There is also ESP32 version for this device. And here I can find all of the pins and example configurations that I could use. If I attach a sensor to this board, for example temperature sensor, I can describe this temperature sensor using some YAML code that I can get from here, and I can paste it somewhere here in the configuration. Then I have to click Save and Install. On this dialog I have several options, but I'll select this third one. And I have to plug my Node MCU in the device where Home Assistant and ESPHome dashboard is installed. In my case it is a Raspberry Pi, so give me a sec to just plug it. Okay, my Node MCU is plugged inside my Raspberry Pi, so I'll just hit this. I'll pick the server port. It is auto-detected, so just select it. And the ESPHome installation is started.
Few minutes later.
Okay, the ESPHome installation is now finished and my device is connected to my Wi-Fi network, so I can stop this. You can see that my device is online, that means it is successfully connected to my Wi-Fi. And I can go to Configuration, Devices, and I can find it right here. It is auto-discovered by Home Assistant. I can click Configure, Submit, and just like that, smash the like, ESPHome device is added to my Home Assistant. The next method to install ESPHome is using Docker, and this is a command line method, which means some Docker commands in the terminal or command prompt have to be used in order to make it work. If you're looking for the easiest method to get ESPHome, maybe you have to wait for the last one, which is using the ESP Web Tools from a browser. But until then, let's focus on the Docker. For that, of course, you need up and running Docker and internet connection. If you already have that, here are the exact steps that you need to execute to install ESPHome using Docker. To demonstrate you ESPHome installed in Docker, I already installed Docker in my Raspberry Pi. So if, for example, I type docker version, I'll receive an answer with my installed Docker version. That means Docker is up and running. That also means I can put the ESPHome Docker image using this command, docker pull ESPHome/ESPHome. Now I have to wait for the Docker to download the ESPHome image. Few minutes later, Docker downloaded and extracted the ESPHome image for me. I can even check that using this command, somewhere around here. Here it is actually, ESPHome. It is the latest version 2 days ago and its size. Never mind, I'll clear this. I will create one new folder where I'll store my ESPHome configuration. I will name that folder STL, stands for smash the like, and I'll enter inside this folder. The next command that I'm going to use is this docker run command. What this command do is the following. It will map the config folder inside the ESPHome Docker image to my current folder, which at the moment is STL. So I have the configuration inside this folder. Then it will start this wizard script, which will generate this stl.yaml file with the ESPHome initial configuration. So I'll just hit enter. I'm the wizard of ESPHome. I'm here to help you. Very nice. Choose a name for your node. Smash the like. Please enter either ESP32 or ESP8266. The node MCU that I'm using is ESP8266, so just type that. ESP8266. I need to know what board you're using. My board is node MCU, so I have to type node MCU. Here it is, node MCU. It is one of the possible options that are listed. Step 3 is the Wi-Fi. What is the SSID? This is my SSID. And what's my Wi-Fi password? Do you want to set a password for connecting to this ESP? Press enter for no password. I don't want a password. And I'm done. The wizard is now written a new configuration file to stl.yaml file. Here it is. I'll clear everything because my password, my Wi-Fi password is still visible here. So I want to clear it. Okay, let's quickly see what the wizard has done. This is the content of the stl.yaml, and again my Wi-Fi password is listed here, so I'll clear that again. And the next thing that I want to see is where exactly my node MCU is connected. For that I'll use this dmessage command, pipe grep tty USB. That will list the changes that have been done recently in my Linux, and from here I can see that my node MCU is connected to TTY USB 1. That means I can now execute the following command. This command will install ESPHome on the device connected to this dev TTY USB 1. This is my node MCU, and it will upload the configuration stored in this stl.yaml. Simple as that. Okay, after 240 seconds, this question arises because I already have such a device. Smash the like. From the previous demo with the Home Assistant and ESPHome dashboard, now the installation script is asking me, found multiple options, please choose one. Over the air, that means wirelessly to upload the configuration on this ESPHome device that is up and running at the moment, or option 1 is to use the USB cable and the device that is connected to this USB port. So select option 1. Probably if you are doing this for the first time, this question will never be asked. And I'm ready. The device is connected to my Wi-Fi, and also it is connected to my Home Assistant, and everything seems perfect. I can see it in my ESPHome dashboard. It is online. I can check the logs and everything is fine. If I had changed the name of this device to something other than smash the like, this would be visible right here. Nevertheless, the Docker installation is working and you can use it if you have Docker and you love using Docker. Before we continue further to the next ESPHome installation method, I want to show you one more thing in Docker. I'll close this and then I'll execute the following command, which will start a ESPHome dashboard similar to this one that is currently available in Home Assistant. Similar dashboard will be available as well on the device where Docker is running. So just hit enter and I'm ready. If I now open a new browser and inside this new browser I type the IP of the device where Docker is running, in my case is this one, and as a port I type 6052, I'll have the ESPHome dashboard and I can see my device which is online. Everything is working. I can manage my ESPHome devices from this dashboard. Next method that I want to show you is also command line based, but this time to install ESPHome I will use Python. This method is very similar to the Docker method with few minor differences, so I'll go to it on a fast pace. Let's start this. I'll use my macOS for that, but you can use Linux or Windows almost the same way. The first thing that is needed is Python up and running. To check that, just type Python 3 version. If you receive similar answer, you're good to go. Next, I'll use Python Package Manager to install the wheel package and ESPHome. The installation is finished. I'll clear this and I'll check if everything is fine by typing ESPHome space version. Everything seems fine. Now I can use almost the same commands that I showed you during the ESPHome Docker demo, namely the ESPHome wizard that will create a configuration for my ESP board, and this configuration will be stored in this stl-python.yaml file. Hi there, I'm the ESPHome wizard. Hello again. Please choose a name. STL Python will be my name of the device. Please choose either ESP32 or ESP8266. My device is ESP8266 based. Choose a board here. My board is NodeMCU. Enter your Wi-Fi name. Enter your Wi-Fi password. Do you want to set a password for connecting to this ESP device? Press enter for no password. And I'm done. I have all of my configuration written in this stl-python.yaml file. I'll clear this. Additionally, I can edit this file using any text editor and I can add some configurations about relays, sensors and so on. But just for the demo, I will show you how to install ESPHome without any modifications using the command line. I'll connect my NodeMCU, my ESP device, to the computer that I'm currently using, to one of the USB ports, and I'll type ESPHome run and the name of my configuration file. And I'll hit enter. Found multiple options, again because this device already have ESPHome on it. The installation wizard is able to find it wirelessly and I can control it over the air. That is if I hit option 2, but I'll select option 1, that is the wired connection, the USB connection. If you're doing this for the first time, probably you will not see this question and you'll directly go with option 1. So I'll select option 1 here and I'll hit enter. And it seems that everything is working. My device is connected to my Wi-Fi. It is also connected to my Home Assistant. If I go to my Home Assistant configuration, devices and services, it is not auto-discovered, but anyways I can add it from add integration. ESPHome. We discovered this, but mine is not listed, so I'll select this no. Set up another instance of ESPHome. I'll get my IP address from my router. Here it is. I'll just copy this and I'll paste it right here. Submit. And success! My ESPHome device named STL Python installed using Python is successfully added to my Home Assistant. I just want to show you one more thing. I'll close this. If you want to install ESPHome dashboard using Python, here is the command that you have to execute: pip install and some packages. Again, don't try to remember it, just get it from the video description. When the installation of these packages and dependencies finish, you can open your IP on port 6052 and you reach the ESPHome dashboard. The last method to install ESPHome is using ESP Web Tools that can be started from a web browser. This is probably the easiest method to get ESPHome, although there is one small drawback. Using this method, you receive only the core, the basic ESPHome, without any configurations for your device. That means, if you have some relays or sensors in your ESP device, you probably have to upload once again the configuration for these relays and sensors afterwards, probably using any of the other methods. The good thing here is the following: this can be done wirelessly. So, let's see how to install ESPHome using ESP Web Tools from a browser. I'll open the ESP Web Tools page. You can find the link in the video description. And I'll open that page in a Google Chrome browser. The other supported browser is Microsoft Edge, so you can either have to use Chrome or Edge for these web tools to work. And I'll grab my ESP board and a USB cable and I'll connect this to my computer. Like that. The ESP board is now powered on. And I'll hit connect. This is the port that I have to select. If you don't see anything, maybe you have to install some drivers that are available here on this page as well. In Linux and Windows, this text right here may be different, but you'll figure it out which port you have to select. This is how it is looking like under macOS. So I'll select that and I'll hit connect. Install ESPHome, install. The USB board is started to flash. This is important, keep this page visible to prevent slowdowns or even errors. So don't close this tab or browser until it's all finished. Installation is complete. How easy was that? Now I have to select my network. Connect. I have three options now: visit device, add to Home Assistant or skip. I'll select visit device. What we have here, this is the name of the ESP device. This is the assigned IP. I have link to the ESP Web API documentation. And I can upload over the air ESPHome update using these buttons. I also have a debug log which is empty, and I have a ESPHome installed on my ESP device using only a browser. Now, when I have ESPHome up and running on this ESP device, I can use any ESPHome dashboard, for example installed in Home Assistant or standalone, to adopt this device and to upload any configuration I wish. wirelessly. If the ESPHome flashing process is not for you, but you want to use ESPHome devices anyways, I will link in the video description several pre-flashed with ESPHome and ready-to-use devices that are available in AliExpress. In case you are a bit lost with the words and abbreviations that I used during this video, go to my website KPeyanski.com/glossary and download my PDF glossary, which is absolutely free. I'm Kiryu and I'm done speaking. Bye!